WordPress is 40% of the
Yeah.
internet. So if let's say, I
Hmm.
don't know, 20% of that is WooCommerce or even 10% of that, that's a
It's
massive,
a
massive
lot of
number.
sites.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 8 million people, that's not just 8 million people, that's 8 million businesses, 8 million families.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of WP Legends. I'm Gautam, the co-founder of Seahawk Media, and today I'm thrilled to have with me Josh Kolbash, the visionary behind Rhymera. Josh has been instrumental in shaping the WooCommerce landscape, offering tools that empower store owners to scale and succeed. Under Josh's leadership, Rhymera has developed standout products like Wholesale Suite, the go-to solution for B2B e-commerce and advanced coupons, which brings sophisticated discounted capabilities to WooCommerce. But the innovation doesn't stop there. Recently, Rhymera expanded its portfolio by acquiring AdTribes, the creators of the popular Product Feed Pro plugin used by over 90,000 WooCommerce stores to generate optimized product feeds for platforms like Google Shopping and Facebook ads. The acquisition aligns with Rhymera's mission to provide comprehensive solutions for online retailers. In addition, Rhymera also introduced Store Agent, an AI-powered assistant designed to streamline WooCommerce product content creation. Store Agent helps store owners generate SEO-friendly descriptions, product tags, and customer QA, enhancing product listings and saving valuable time. Josh, it's fantastic to have you here. Let's start by going into the roots of your journey. How did Rhymera start, and what drives your passion for developing WooCommerce tools?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Gotham. Man, the journey with Rhymera has been quite a long time, actually. We're over 10 years now. Uh, where did it start? So I was working for a marketing agency, and I knew that I wanted to do something more with WordPress, and I have always wanted to run my own company. So I eventually just kind of took the leap. We were having our first kid at the time as well, so it was like it's what they say, like whenever you're having a kid, you always do something crazy, like you'll start a business or you'll do house renovations or something like that. I chose the business thing, and we bought a house. So it was like all the same time. But basically, I jumped into consulting work. I did have a grand vision, like I wanted to create products with my WordPress skills. Basically, I already had a small plugin going on the side called Thirsty Affiliates. But you know that pressure to put food on the table, pay the bills and stuff like that led me more into consulting at first.
Gotcha.
So
But
yeah,
this was your first true business, right? Before that, you were working. What do you call that?
yeah, I was working full time,
Okay.
but I've always kind of freelanced a little bit on the side.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was doing freelancing for years, just helping people with odds and ends and little projects and stuff like that that I would find various places, friends, online. People would just find me somehow.
But what specifically drove you to WooCommerce? That's the fun because that's your first plugin.
Well, yeah,
Why
okay.
Woo?
That probably came just a little bit later because so the way that we transitioned into products was actually via WooCommerce. So
Mm,
I did have Thirsty Affiliates in the
mm,
background there. It was kind of chugging away, making a little bit of money, but you know, not a huge amount. And we used to do a lot of projects for large e-commerce stores.
okay.
Uh, we would also do back end work for other agencies. So I had probably three or four agencies that would feed me more back end WordPress type
Mm.
work, and really enjoyed the WooCommerce stuff. And WooCommerce at the time was just sort of really
Was this
finding its
like
feet.
about, you would say 7, 8 years ago or like something like that?
I'd say longer, probably 10 years. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
It was really just starting to find its feet, Woo. Um, I think the other platform at the time that was kind of competing was WP e-commerce. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't. Of course, I know like OpenCart, Magento, Joomla, and Drupal, and
Right.
all of that, but
So WP e-commerce was the one that was like it was the hot thing in
oh wow,
WordPress for
okay.
such a long time
Okay.
before WooCommerce started. Once WooCommerce came along, it was like, oh wow, this can be so much better. And everybody started migrating over to
Do you remember
WooCommerce.
your first 5, 10, 15 customers? Like some exciting customer? which really got you going,
Yes.
which you got your guns blazing?
Yeah, I did work for a couple of companies that actually came across from the marketing agency I was working at. The marketing agency was shifting direction, so they were going into like healthcare marketing,
Gotcha.
and it just happened that at the time I wanted to shift off and make my own consulting company. So a couple of the clients came across to me. One of them was a skincare company based in Sydney, in Bondi,
Hmm.
and yeah, did some fantastic work with her over the years, for probably 3 or 4 years after that,
Gotcha.
optimizing her site, transferred her over into WooCommerce and everything. um, there was another one also in Sydney that I really enjoyed, and it actually led to the creation of Wholesale Suite. So it
Gotcha.
was like an art hanging system. So, like in galleries, they have these, it's
Yeah, yeah,
almost
yeah.
invisible. It's like a bar at the very top of the wall, and then they
Okay.
have these invisible wires that hang down. So this company sold those things, and they sold like a lot of them.
Oh wow, pretty cool. Obviously
So
wholesale, and
they,
they were B2B.
yeah,
B2B. That's why wholesale.
B2B, yeah. Well, they would sell to the public as well, which is
Of
really
course.
interesting because they wanted to actually bring their wholesale stuff into
Okay.
their website.
Gotcha.
So then, like all the orders, whether it was like a wholesale order, if it was a retail order, it would all like go through the one platform, and they only
Gotcha.
had one place to deal with orders. So
Gotcha.
the wholesale stuff that was on the market at the time didn't really fit the bill that well.
Mm-hmm.
They were okay, but it was like they'd half solved the wholesale equation. So they
I
didn't
see.
really understand what the business owners were really wanting. And through this project, I kind of said to them, like, okay, we're going to build this. I feel like we need to build something custom. So I'm just going to build that anyway. And you guys will be the first people to use it. So they were the first ones to actually use Wholesale Suite as you see it today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's pretty cool. I think the problem which you're trying to like which Wholesale Suite is solving is pretty cool because retail like business owners, whether it's clothes,
Mm.
jewelry, art hanging, you name it,
Mm-hmm.
books. I see a lovely background of books behind you right now. So that's cool. I think at some point of time, everybody wants wholesale customers and they're ready to give discounts. They want to give discounts and they want to control all of that also. And I think that's where your plugin comes in. And I think it solves a lot of problems. I think so. But tell me about ad tribes. What happened there? Like,
Mm.
why did you pivot into that? Or what, was it just
So
complementary?
it was very complimentary for us.
Okay.
I've admired this plugin for a long time, and the previous owner, Joris, he did a great job of building up ad tribes and kind of had this vision of being, the WordPress SEO of SEM. So
Hmm.
like all through the plugin, it was like SEM this, SEM that, like search engine marketing. And he built it for Google feeds, basically. So Google
Hmm.
Shopping requires a feed, and you want to generate a feed based off all of your products. So that's what AdTribes does. It
Gotcha.
generates these feeds for you. And over time, he just started adding more and more and more platforms. It got to a point though, because this was like a side gig for this guy. It
I see.
wasn't his full time thing. It was doing pretty good considering it was a side gig, but he had another business and still does run this other business, which is Europe's
And for
largest
you,
comparison
it was
sites.
completely no-brainer. It was just a no-brainer, basically.
Yeah, and yeah, it just
Uh,
fits so well in what we do.
And did you,
So
when you started sending out newsletter blasts to your other customers, were they happy? Were they excited? What kind of support tickets are you getting? Tell me about that a little bit.
yeah, we've done a little bit of like cross selling and stuff like that. I
Okay.
think it's really important, like when you run a multiple complementary kind of
Mm-hmm.
products, to like, it's just smart to leverage that where you can,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it makes sense and it's contextual, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we did a lot of like cross linking on with all the content and everything, building up our domain authority for ad tribes, which wasn't the greatest, and there was no content strategy, and some of the marketing and stuff was just like a bit lacking. And that's where we kind of knew we go, okay, here's our systems for Wholesale Suite and advanced coupons. We can basically plug in those marketing systems and stuff over into ad tribes, and we know we're going to get some sort of lift there. Um, in terms of like customer tickets and stuff, we've basically spent the last year fixing bugs.
Oh, okay.
Um, so the previous owner was not a professional coder or anything, and he did a really great job putting it together, but it did have a few things that needed correcting, let's
I
say.
see.
a lot of the tickets and that sort of thing. They'll basically like fix this thing like now, um, not
And
yesterday.
how,
Now,
how and how big is your team, Josh, if I may ask? How big?
for ad tribes, we really only have a couple of people in it. So there's a
No, what about
support
your whole
person.
team as for Ramera? And I'm
Oh,
talking
the
about,
entire team? Yeah, we have 25 people in the company now.
and everybody's remote? Everybody's remote?
Everybody's remote. Yeah. So
But
myself
I
and my
know you're
wife
based in
Mary, we're
Australia,
both
which is a
in.
difficult time zone to navigate sometimes. But how do you, but obviously your customers are spread all over the world, I'm assuming, like North America,
Yeah.
the sector. So how do you manage all that? Tell me about that. What time do you start your day? Like, and how do you manage your team? Give me some insights on that.
Well, so we're in like I think it's 6 or 7 countries now in
Okay.
terms of stuff.
Okay.
In terms of customers, we're probably in like 150. So worldwide commerce is, these days, if you look back 10 years ago, is very different to what it is today. People are
Mm-hmm.
very understanding that when you submit a support ticket, the person's probably on the other side of the world and you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
get an instant answer. So we're just very upfront about like where we work and what our time zones are, when they can expect replies and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But quite often, what will happen is someone in the US will submit a ticket. We get that ticket, and it's sort of just coming into our start of the workday, and we have an answer to them sitting in their mailbox
Oh
like the
yeah,
next
that's
day.
true. Yeah, it works. It
So
works.
it kind of works in our favor.
Yeah, it works in our favor too, as for my agency, Seahawk Media, actually, especially when it comes to PST time zone. Because if somebody submits a ticket
Yeah.
or some request after 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. PST, by
Mhm.
8 p.m., 9 p.m. it's answered because the team in IST or Africa time zone, depending on the person who's taking up, is just wakes up and they're like, okay, cool, this is responding, get it over with. So I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and the
And
customers are thrilled. Like they wake up and the answer's right there in the inbox. So
yeah, that's pretty.
it works out well.
I have an interesting one for you, okay? And I was having a very good conversation with Damanjeet yesterday from FunnelKit, and who also
Hmm.
has a WooCommerce product.
Yeah,
And
no, Dharma.
and
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the same question, okay? How do you compare with Shopify? Are you, and I know we are all bullish about WordPress. I'm super bullish about
Mm.
WordPress and WooCommerce for sure. But I know that Shopify also is picking up pace in a very big way. So are you like, what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, Shopify is a great platform. I've got nothing against those guys, and I don't really view it as competition because, like, the pie for e-commerce is growing so much every single year.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that Shopify is doing something around 10% of all US e-commerce transactions, which I think is
Wow, that's big.
fantastic
That's
given
big.
given the
Yeah.
age of Shopify. Yeah. WooCommerce is a lot larger than people think. We've got like over, I think it's close to 9 million installs for
Wow.
WooCommerce.
Wow.
If you look at the statistics and everything, like the Build with websites and stuff, you can do a breakdown of the shopping carts and stuff. And WooCommerce is up top all the time. Like it actually is the biggest platform for e-commerce on the web.
Yeah,
And
WordPress is 40% of the
yeah,
internet. So if let's say, I
mm-hmm.
don't know, 20% of that is WooCommerce or even 10% of that, that's a
It's
massive,
a
massive
lot of
number.
sites.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 8 million people, that's not just 8 million people, that's 8 million businesses, 8 million families. And then think about like every single store has like multiple people that it's affecting. Maybe there's 5, 10 people in that business as well, and all of their families. Like the flow on effect for WooCommerce is absolutely massive.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And tell me something, in your company, how do you manage your workflows? Besides Slack, for example, like what SaaS tools do you use in
Yeah.
your company to manage your business?
Yeah, that's a good one. I watched your episode with Ken
Okay.
from Uncanny the other day.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
said ClickUp, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, I should talk to Ken as well because we can trade notes." We switched over to ClickUp recently as well,
Okay.
so that one's actually a very big part of it. Recently, though, we're getting a little bit more into N8N.
Okay.
So N8N is like a AI workflow kind of automation
I've
thing.
never heard of this one.
Think of like make.com or Zapier.com
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
any of those kind of automation systems, a little more AI focused, and you can self-host it. So
Oh,
we're
that's pretty
actually
cool.
self-hosting and yeah, playing around with that recently and
Mm.
finding a lot of like efficiencies and stuff we can, things we can automate within our sites and within our business and everything. It's really, really nice to play with like different APIs and connect things together. It's kind of like playing with Legos. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Are
definitely
you are
appeals to the
you are you
engineer in me.
working? Are you and your team like working on something to do with AI? Everybody's working with AI in
Mm.
some way. How are
Yeah.
you using it? and how are you going to be enhancing the customer's experience with AI?
So we're kind of using it in a couple of ways. Well, I think of AI enhancing a business in a couple of ways. So we've got the stuff that we're doing internally. So obviously we've got all the basics, ChatGPT, engineers
Of
are
course,
using Cursor, all that kind of stuff.
of course.
But also then thinking beyond that, like where can AI take us in terms of workflows? What can we automate that we didn't automate before? What can you get AI to actually answer and automate at the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah.
Like even if you just think of automation and AI together, you start realizing there's things that I can automate that I couldn't actually automate before because AI wasn't in that equation. So there's
True.
that part of it. In terms of customer facing stuff, we're kind of heads down on Store Agent at the moment. Store Agent's very new.
Mm-hmm.
We've only just recently launched the plugin, and we're sort of talking to early users and stuff like that. We're looking at I've got a couple of secret squirrel projects for that, which I can't talk too much about because it's not live. So I won't throw my team under the bus just yet. We're also just launching a lot of little AI tools. Like I made a new site the other day called ratemyproductpage.com,
Okay.
and you can literally plug in a product page URL and it will give it a rating on conversion scores. So like how well is this page set up for
I
conversions?
don't know. I don't know how we will keep up with all of this. I have no idea. Like over the weekend, I saw Google's updates and like it's all over
Yeah.
Instagram, as you know, like and TikTok and LinkedIn, and people are creating crazy videos with it. It's unbelievable. How do you
Oh
keep up
man,
with all of this? It's unbelievable.
I don't know. Like the even just thinking about the video thing, like it wasn't that long. Do you remember that video with Will Smith eating spaghetti?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
it was just like he's gone like this, and it's like hanging out of his face. Man, there was an updated version of that. Somebody put out with the new
I
Google
know.
VO stuff,
I
and
think it's just crazy
it
what.
looked legit, like he's actually eating spaghetti.
Yeah,
So,
the content which is coming is one thing. The consumption
yeah.
is another thing. I just saw a news article this morning that AI, the based revenue when it comes to people making money is roughly
Mm.
about $1 billion market and is going to be about worth 20 billion by next year and 200 billion in the next 7 or 8 years. People
Oh,
create
I believe
using
it.
AI to make
Mm.
money on social media. It's unbelievable. Somebody the
Yeah.
other day spoke to me and said, "Hey, nowadays you can just give a command and website is ready. Your business is done." I said, okay, okay. And you can do it with Wix, you can do it with WordPress, you can do it with Elementor, you
Yeah.
can do it with Lovable. He said, your business is done in 3 years. I said, I don't think you still need people to plug in. You need common sense for people to apply the logo, to match the color scheme, and stuff like that. I
100%.
think we're going to actually grow more. We're going to be using it more effectively, all of us in our businesses. So somebody says that, I
Mm.
just find it kind of like, funny. Never thought.
Yeah. I reckon that's a mindset thing. Like
Hmm.
AI is the great enhancer. That's the way I
Yes.
kind
Well
of
said.
view it.
Well
Like
said.
it's enhancing everything, and yeah, it's going to enhance some people out of a job,
Hmm.
for sure. And it's probably coming for our jobs as well at some point. But it's right now. All it's doing is shifting the value.
True.
So this has happened over the years, and I know you've been in tech as long as I have. Just looking back 10, 15, 20 years ago at where tech was back then and where we were, what we were doing for adding value at that time is totally different to what it is
I
now.
know. 100%. I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. 100%. Tell me, do you go to any events like WordCamps and all?
I've been to WordCamp Asia because that's kind of in my neck of the woods. I didn't get to this year's, unfortunately. I got to the year before that in Thailand. I had a great time. Somebody has just kicked off WordCamp Brisbane again, which I'm
Oh,
very, very
wow.
excited about.
I
Yeah.
think WordCamp needs to do this. See, WordCamp Europe is like for me, it's like an hour's flight, so it's pretty easy.
Hmm.
US is also not too far. Plus, I have my co-founder Ryan in Miami, so we just I go there, spend a couple
Yeah.
of days, we travel together, something like that. And US is pretty big also, but I think WordCamp organizers, if they're hearing this, they should definitely look at Australia also and not ignore that.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah.
I would
It's been
love
it's been battered around like through the circles of people that I know.
I
Yeah.
would love to take a work vacation kind of a thing and just,
Yeah.
park my bags at your place and just, go to work camp. That's what I would do. Right? I
Sounds good. I got a spare room for you.
I would love to do that. You mentioned at the start of the podcast, you do fun things when, especially when you have a baby and all. My daughter is now 15 months, and I'm taking her to this word camp, and this is her first word camp. So I'm very excited about that, you know?
I think it's fantastic when people take kids to WordCamp.
Yeah.
Like it's
At least,
it's a
at least for an
experience
hour.
like they're not going to get anywhere else,
I know.
and it's
I
kind of like
know.
a holiday for them. So
I know, at least for an hour to memorialize pictures and stuff like that because WordPress is not going anywhere. WordCamps are
yeah,
not going anywhere. So,
exactly,
to,
exactly.
to frame those pictures and get those t-shirts and swag and stuff like that and say,
Yeah, it should
hey,
be
this
like
is,
a rite of passage for WordPress kids. Like
yeah.
they've got to get to a WordCamp at some point.
Yeah, you mentioned the word Will Smith. So, do you watch anything interesting podcast wise, Netflix wise you're watching right now, which you're really intrigued
Uh,
about?
right now, I just finished. Have you seen the TV series Silo?
Oh,
It
yes,
was
I
on
have.
Apple TV.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah,
love that
yeah, yeah.
series.
Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah, it was
I
pretty
actually
good.
just finished reading the first book.
Oh, you
So the
read the book
book
as well?
is even better than the series, if
Oh,
you can
wow.
believe it. But yeah,
Blair,
so
Blair
yeah, I'm
Williams.
way into sci-fi and stuff like that. So
Blair Williams, I was speaking with him the other day from Member Press, and he gave me
mhm.
a link to a podcast about, Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan has so many podcasts, and it was all
Yeah,
about Egyptian ancient architecture, aliens, all that. And I'm halfway through that, and it's unbelievable. I usually, whenever I get time, because I have a baby, dog, whatever, I watch some
yeah,
Netflix here and there.
yeah.
Now, I just rebooted because I've rebooted WP Legends. Now I'm
Mhm.
working a lot of videos for my company, etc. But now I'm looking at podcasts and looking at Joe Rogan, and I realize, wow, like that's pretty amazing. Like some of the podcasts he has, and I'm trying to recap on all of those now. But that's pretty cool.
There is so much content out there. It's hard to keep up with everything. Like there's so many podcasts that I listen to, mowing the lawn and stuff like
I
that. I just kind of fit them in, like when I'm doing other things.
tell what is the biggest challenge in your company you're facing right now? It could be anything, bug
Mm.
solving, tickets, anything new launching, and roadblockers.
I think it's just the quantity of stuff that we want to do versus how many engineer hours that we have. Like we're always super ambitious,
Hmm.
and the team is ambitious as well.
Hmm.
Um, like some of the engineers that we have here, they're like as enthusiastic about AI and stuff like that, and where everything's going as I am, maybe even more so. They have like really ambitious plans for where we want to take StoreAgent, sort of how we want to like enhance our processes and stuff like that. But I think it's just like keeping up with everything and whittling that down to like what can we actually do
Yeah.
with the time that we have. And sometimes you got to sacrifice, big grand ideas
Hmm.
because they can't literally fit
Oh, I know
into
that.
everything that you
I
want
know
to do.
that. Ryan, my co-founder, he comes to me every other day with some new idea,
Yeah,
and out of 15 new ideas we discuss every month or every week, we definitely pick up on one then, and we
yeah,
propose something, but we can't pick up on all 15. But you never know. Sometimes, you just pick up on that idea and something pretty big happens.
yeah. Something hits, or yeah, the little thing will
Like
spark, and it leads
like
to something
like I
else.
saw I saw the video other day on your LinkedIn. You were working and you were working out on a treadmill at the same time. That was an
Yeah.
idea.
I don't know how I came up with doing that, but yeah, I was walking on the treadmill and just like, I'm just gonna turn the camera on for a second.
One of my best work is early morning hours. Today, I don't know why I just woke up at 4:15, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got my
Mhm.
workout done and all of that. But one of my best
Good
work is when
man.
I'm in the park. I'm walking my dog and I have like my Slack open and I'm just
Yeah,
sending voice notes or on Huddle with my team. And I
yeah,
really, really am
yeah,
able to like do one of my best work then. I have a very interesting question for you, which I always ask. And
yeah.
so the question is, 150 million Australian dollars in your bank tomorrow, no questions asked. What's the first thing you will do?
Australian dollars, a dollar
I
it
use the
is.
word Australian dollars because you're in Australia. I didn't say 100
Yeah,
million US dollars. I said 150 million Australian dollars.
not Great British pounds. No. You know what? I wish it was the 150 the 150 USD. That would be better. But no, I'm not sure what I would do actually. It's a I saw you ask this to a couple of other
Retire?
people, but I
Are you going to
didn't.
retire? Are you going to
I
buy
don't think I
something?
could. Like, I just enjoy what I do every day, and like, I probably could have stopped at some point, and I don't think I really would, because I actually really enjoy what I do day to day. I have my life set up, good balance, for keeping fit and healthy, and family and business. It kind of all comes together and gives you a bit of a like mental triangle, I suppose, like the balance there. So I don't know whether the money would really change too much. Obviously, I'd go and buy some houses for family and stuff like that.
Of course.
I know my mum would love me to buy her a house and everything. That would be definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think the reason I asked this question also is not only to see like who's going to retire quickly. I don't think anybody wants to retire at least.
yeah,
Everybody wants to come up with new ideas and work, do something big, right? I think the power it can give you is time,
mm.
right? You can use
Yes,
that time for a lot of things then, right?
yeah,
I think the time you can get, like my baby woke up and now she wants me, my attention. Okay, so
mm.
if you have time, you can give attention to your family, like you mentioned your mom or something like that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I,
100%. And
but of course,
being able to stop in the middle of the day and go and help her with something, that's a gift, and something that I wouldn't ever want to give up. Same with my family. I picked up my daughter from school today.
yeah,
Like these are the little moments and the little things that they kind of remember. And I think the ultimate currency is actually time. It's not, you're 100% right. It's not necessarily the money. The money just helps you buy time. So
of course,
yeah,
absolutely. I really hope WordCamp looks into Australia for sure because I've never
yeah,
been
me
to
too.
Australia, you know, as of now, but I do want to do that, at least travel the world. And
Yeah,
luckily with WordCamps, you get to experience new countries. Of course, with growth funds also. We are part of the growth fund family with Syed, thanks to Syed Balki. So
yeah.
I think the first time we met in person was Cabo, Mexico, right? I think so. Yeah, because I couldn't
Yeah,
make
I
it to
think it probably
Turkey.
would have. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
talked on the phone before that, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it would have been
But
Cabo,
in
I think.
person,
Yeah,
it was Cabo, Mexico. It was pretty cool. You get to travel, you do work talks, you experience new cuisines and food and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think it's
too much
always a
food.
great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to do that. I think so. I hope
100%.
I
Yeah.
hope I hope
But
WordCamp and WordPress does that. Anyways, we're coming up on time, and I just want to know,
awesome.
like, where can our listeners find you online? Are you on X, LinkedIn? I know
Yeah.
you're there. Are you on X, or they can just contact
Yeah,
the website?
I'm basically Jay Kolbach. I know it's a tricky German
Call
name.
back. Sorry, I introduced you. I said call back. No, it's call
Okay,
back.
that you're probably closer to the German pronunciation, but yeah, in Australia we kind of like Aussie-fied it, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, Jay Kolbach on pretty much all the platforms, so you
Okay.
can just look me up that way.
Okay, awesome, super. Thank you so much for being on the show. I know it's late evening over there, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
firing up that barbecue, the smoker. You're from Australia. You're supposed to have a huge, huge barbecue, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to throw some shrimp on the barbie because we don't do that down here. But but yeah, definitely, it's time to log off for the day, I think.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the WP Legends podcast, Josh. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Have a
Cheers,
great
guys. Have a good one, man.
bye.
Bye.